By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to use the application Anki, even if you don't know anything about it now. And also you'll know why it is genuinely one of the best things you can do for revision in general, for any subject. But before all of this, I want to start off with a story. A long time ago, in a city far away, in Rome actually, there lived a person named Demetrius. Now Demetrius was a civilian in Rome, but he also had a second job. He had a second job that was a gladiator. Now, a gladiator is basically, if you don't know, if you've like failed history or something, a gladiator is basically a person who goes in front of like a crowd and fights another gladiator to the death. This is a fight to the death. And Demetrius had that occupation. Now, one day in the post, I don't know how ancient Romans did it, but in the post, he got called for a gladiator match against someone else. So now he's gonna fight to the death against someone else. So he begins training. He has 2 weeks until the fight. He starts doing like push-ups, he starts doing like, I don't know, weighted dips, boxing training. And then a day before the actual fight, a serviceman comes to him and offers him a sword. Now, he tells Demetrius that the other opponent, his opponent, has also been offered this sword to fight him against. And he puts out his sword, and Demetrius is not very smart. Demetrius says, nah, I'm good. I don't really like I don't know, the color on the sword. The sword gives me like bad vibes, so I'm just gonna like stay away from it. Or like the sword doesn't suit my fighting style, so I just don't like the sword. Just imagine how stupid that is, right? Demetrius is going to fight to the death against an opponent. He's going to compete against his opponent, and he refuses the only actual proven weapon that he has to defeat him. Now, you may be wondering why the hell I've brought up like this weird story about gladiators and swords in a video about Anki and a flashcard application. But this is genuinely the excuses that I hear when I tell people to use this application Anki. I kid you not that a lot of people today are modern day Demetriuses. They are very smart, like genuinely very smart. I am not a very smart person, like I'm not genetically smart, but I do have some common sense. A lot of people just don't seem to think clear, or they like overestimate their own capability. Anki is the best application out there for revision. A lot of people have made like videos on like this thing called active recall and spaced repetition, and these two components are the best way to revise. It's been scientifically proven that if you interleave these two things, spaced repetition, active recall, that this will like genuinely, this is the best way to revise. And Anki is an application that does this. By extension, if you're not using this app Anki, you are at a disadvantage to people who are. You are like, it's like you're going to fight someone without a sword. Like, you're at such a big disadvantage when it comes to revision or exams, because honestly, that's what exams are, right? They are a composition. If we had no composition within exams, there would be no grade boundaries, there would be no grades. Grades wouldn't hold value. So in this competition that is grades and like exams and stuff, if you're not using this flashcard application Anki, you are at a disadvantage. I've seen so many people tell me that, oh yeah, I'm a visual learner, or I've tried flashcards but they didn't really work. You haven't like actually like tried flashcards in the right way. You haven't actually implemented it in the right way. You've probably like followed some random Indian dude online on how to set up flashcards. You've probably failed and then said, oh no, flashcards aren't for me. But if you follow this video and then the next video that's coming out after this, so this is like a 2-part series on how to make flashcards and how to use Anki. If you use them in combination, you will be equipped to like genuinely memorize anything when it comes to content. Like now, for example, I study for A-levels. I've got pretty good grades, predicted grades in these A-levels. I study maths, further maths, physics and computer science. And I kid you not that whenever I have some piece of information that I need to memorize, I just put it into this application and it just uploads it to my brain. That's how it works. I literally put it into this application and it uploads it to my brain. Imagine how much at a disadvantage you would be if you didn't use this one application. Like if you use that weird like revision tactic your teacher told you once, like I don't know, covering up your textbook and then like looking at like look cover or whatever, like test or whatever. Imagine you did that compared to what I'm doing right now. My method saves me a lot of time so I can practice this or apply this in real exam situations. So the TLDR of this entire intro is just use Anki. Like Anki, this is not sponsored by any means at all. Anki is genuinely the best thing you can use for your revision. I don't care what subject you do. I do maths and further maths, the most applied subject, and I still use flashcards. There is no subject that you can do that you can convince me that you don't need Anki for. Anki is literally like what I said it was. You just put in information that you need to write and memorize, you do the reviews, and it gets uploaded to your brain. It's just it's basically the closest thing to a time machine when it comes to revision that you have. It saves you so much time that I genuinely don't understand how people revise without it. Like I genuinely can't comprehend how people revise without using Anki. And ever since I started using like Anki in year 11, the only regret I have is just not using it earlier. So I know that this has sounded quite like ranty and stuff, but honestly I'm just ranting to my older self just to tell him that if you just started using Anki now, you would save so much like time just wasted in memorization that you could have spent elsewhere. Anyways, and that's my rant down. You should use Anki, regardless of what subject you do, regardless of what like course you're doing, regardless of where you are. If you're in year 9, if you're doing university, you should use Anki. I don't care if you think you're not a flashcard person, at least try it for a month. And if you don't like it, don't delete it. Like I don't care, but just at least use it or try it for a month. When it comes to the cost of Anki I think is 25 quid on mobile phones, and I think it's free on laptops. So if you have like a laptop or an iPad, you can go and download Anki for free on there. But on like iPhones and stuff or like iPads, I think it costs 25 quid for your like Apple account. And I know that this may sound quite expensive, but think about it. You're investing 25 quid for you to get good grades in every single subject from now on. Like if you're in year 10 now, you're investing 25 quid to get better grades in GCSEs, A-levels and university and any like admissions test or entrance test in any future. You will 100% get better grades if you just use this like one application. So treat this cost as an investment rather than like something that you just have to pay for, or like some weird like scammy website that you just have to pay for. This is way more powerful than people make it out to be. Anki has genuinely changed the education system, and like as more and more people use it, if you don't use it, you're going to be at more of a disadvantage. Anyways, that's my rant down. That's the intro done. Hopefully I've convinced you that you should use Anki, and we're now going to move on to exactly how do you use Anki and the steps involved in like downloading the app and how you use it, because a lot of people struggle with the UI. The UI is very, very simple. Like the homepage of Anki is very, very simple, and a lot of people don't understand how to use it. So this is exactly the step-by-step of like how to go from noob to intermediate Anki user. I'm not an advanced Anki user by any means. I'm going to link some links down. I'm going to link some like websites and YouTube videos down below. And these people, or like the people I link down below, are genuinely advanced, like very, very high. They've been using Anki for a long, long time now, and they are very, very advanced in it. So if you understand and like have been using Anki for quite some time now, and you want to improve your Anki skills even more, go look at these people. But genuinely, I think that becoming like a medium Anki user is the sweet spot, because you don't want to overly rely on Anki, but just not using it at all is another end of the spectrum where you don't want to be. So this video is genuinely just how to go from noob to medium Anki user. Anyways, that brings me on to the first step, which is downloading Anki. Right. As you can see, I've changed my camera angle and I'm now standing up because I have a special desk that allows me to do so. But anyways, I am now on google.com. So Anki, as I said, was an application, and you can just find it online if you just go to Google and type Anki.com. I know that there's this like really weird scammy website, like there's other ones like AnkiPro.net. Don't go for these ones. Like just get the actual version, man. Just like don't be one of those weirdos who gets like the weird like Susta Temu version of Anki, because it doesn't work and the algorithm isn't as strong. But anyway, as long as you get to this homepage here, you go to apps.ankiweb.net. I think that's the URL. But as soon as you come here, you're met with this blue home screen. You want to go ahead and press the download button, and then you're brought to this place here. And then after you're here, you just select your like Windows, Linux, or whatever device you're using on. And then I think I'm on Mac OS 12 Plus. I would just click this button here, go through the download process, and then get the application working. When you're first like shown Anki, it's gonna say this website is downloaded from the internet. Do you trust it? Just say yes. Like, it's not a scam. I'm not gonna like scam you out of this website. Isn't gonna scam you out of your like revision resources. It's just a normal like Anki website. Just press OK, and then you should be met with something that looks a lot like this. This is the default base starter pack of Anki. This honestly looks crap. This UI is the plainest I've ever seen. But the power this UI has, or the power that this application by itself has, is intense. It's honestly the best application out there. I've tried a lot of applications, like flashcard applications out there, and they don't even come, like none of them even come close to Anki in the sense of like how their algorithm performs. You may hear me say the word algorithm again and again. What I mean is basically, right, when I create a card on this, I'm going to show you how to as well. When I create a card and then I press review, when I review the cards, basically what Anki is doing is it's seeing how long I take to answer the card. It sees how hard the card is for me, like the piece of information on the card is for me. And then it's using its algorithm to place this or show you the card on a specific date that's optimal for your like memory. It's honestly crazy how it works. But yeah, basically, it's basically taking this like piece of information, this flashcard, and it's scheduling for a particular date where your memory for this particular card is going to be weaker. And as soon as you start reinforcing that nerve connection, reinforcing that like neuron connection in your brain, and reinforcing that like memory or that piece of information in your brain, that's going to help you remember it a lot more. And that's basically how like stuff goes into your long-term memory. This will literally take this information and upload it into your long-term memory. Think of how crazy that is, right? You're literally just putting stuff into this application and then just doing the stuff, like doing the hard work of just going through the flashcards, telling it how hard it is, and then it's uploading it to your memory. It's crazy stuff, right? So anyway, back to how you would create a card on Anki. So you're met with this default card pack. Ignore this and click on the button called Create Deck. Basically, what this will do is it will give you this deck name. So imagine I'm studying the subject, I don't know, physics, right? This would be your like main subject deck of cards. Imagine like you've seen like on paper flashcards of like a stack of flashcards for a particular subject. This is basically what that is. This is just a deck of those flashcards. So I'm studying, I don't know, physics. So I type in physics and I'm doing A level. I'm not doing GCSEs. So I press A level, hit enter, and it comes up with this, right? If you click on this, nothing's in there because you haven't put any flashcards in it. Nothing should show up. But yeah, this is basically how it is. You're gonna have a lot of decks with different subjects. And basically what you do is whenever you want to review the cards or like go through the flashcards that you need to, you basically just click on this and they should come up, right? This is just 101 of how to create a deck on Anki. Then after this, if you want to create a particular card, you click on this button, add. And now what this will, you probably won't have this exact view, but you would probably have something like this. You basically have a front and the back of the flashcard. This view or this type is called a basic type when it comes to Anki. I'm going to be covering all of this more advanced stuff in the future, but basically this is just a normal, your standard flashcard, right? You have the front of the flashcard, like the question, and then you can put the answer on the back. So when it comes to physics A level, what's something that I could think about when it comes to physics A level? Superconductors. So there's a specific subtopic in physics A level in the electricity concept called superconductors. So I could put, what is a superconductor? The best way or like the most optimal way to make flashcards for different subjects is in another video in this channel. So look, this is just like the part 1 of this series. That will be the part 2 of this series. So this is just like how to set up Anki, how to like use Anki. The next more important video, in my opinion, is how to make the perfect flashcard. If you just use these two in combination, you're set. You're an academic weapon. But anyways, what is a superconductor? Right? I would put this question, and then I would put on the back, a superconductor is a material that has no resistance under when the material, bad grammar, the material is at or below its critical temperature. Right, standard flashcard. I then press the button add here. I don't really need to worry about tags now. I haven't really used tags in my entire 3 years of using Anki. So yeah, I've never really seen the use for these tag things. But yeah, you would press add. But before that, if you have multiple decks, you can press on this button here, and this should show all of your decks in one like column, and you just press on the deck you want to add it to. You then press choose, press add, and then it's gone. You go back to the main window here, and then you can see this new column here, and it has the one symbol. So as long as you just click on this, click study now, and then your flashcard is appeared. You've created your first flashcard. Everyone's hyped. You're gonna get an A star. Your parents are hyped. You're not getting deported. It's insane, like how this works. It's insane how like simple this is as well. But anyways, I click enter, and yeah, this back of the flashcard answer appears. A material that has no resistance when the material is at or below its critical temperature. And yeah, you're set. This is exactly how you make flashcards. You just keep on adding it to this deck. You keep on adding and adding and adding, and then you basically do these flashcards. It's better to do them every single day so that like the algorithm updates. But in my personal experience, I've never kept consistent to every single day. Mainly because the subjects I take for A-level are not really like essay or memorization based. I take like maths and further maths. So you don't really like memorize the formulas, or you don't memorize the answers. You have to apply them a lot. But that being said, I do them quite regularly. And as long as you have like a habit of doing these regularly, whether this be like 3 times, 4 times a week, this should still work perfectly. Like I've seen no issue with Anki at all, as long as I've been doing them quite consistently throughout the week, right? But it's better to do them every single day. So like if you take public transport, or like you're in your car or something, or like you walk to school or something, you can put in your headphones, put in the music, and then just do these on the way to school. And that is a perfect habit that you can build when you're doing these flashcards. Anyway, now we've learned how to add flashcards to our physics deck, or like our Anki deck. This brings me on to the second most like useful thing you can do in Anki, which is create multiple sub decks. So now I just have the physics A-level deck by itself. What I can do is I can basically section this off into different compartments. So physics A-level is quite big. It's a book like this thick, and you really want to like section it off into different like topics and stuff. So this comes under the deck called electricity. So I'd put another deck, I would make another deck called electricity. I would create it like this, and basically I'd just drag this and then place it inside this physics A-level deck here. And see this little plus symbol here? That's where you know you've created a sub deck. So now, whenever I add a new flashcard that's in the electricity deck, I can just add it directly into this sub deck of physics A-level, instead of adding it to the main deck. So imagine this is like a folder sort of thing. Instead of just like putting it randomly in the folder, this is putting it in like a particular section within the folder. This just enables more organization. It just helps me revise certain topics more than others. So I'm not going to show you my actual A-level deck right now, but my actual A-level deck has all of the topics of like every single subject, and I have flashcards for each of these. This brings me on to the next section, which is the type of cards you can add. So Now we've seen subdecks, decks, how to add your first card. Now, when you're adding your cards, there are different types of cards that you can actually add, okay? So if you look at the top left corner here, it says type equals basic. This is the most basic, as the name suggests, card that you can add. I only personally use 3 types of cards. There are many cards that you can use. There are many like types of flashcards you can use. There is close, there's basic, there's optional, there's basic and reverse, there's basic type in the answer. The ones I use are image occlusion, type in the answer, basic, and sometimes close. So what are the difference between all of these 4? I personally think these are the only 4 like important ones. You can use other ones, but I don't really like them and I don't really see the point of them. But basic, as you've seen, is just having the front, having the back. Basic type in the answer is the same thing, but instead of just showing you the answer, it gives you like a type prompt. So now if you want to memorize something word for word, if you want to memorize a definition word for word, you would use this type of card. So imagine I don't know, okay, so if I was looking at Ohm's law, what is Ohm's law? What is the definition of Ohm's law? Again, a physics card. I would say, provided the fact that temperature and the material of an ohmic conductor stays the same, the voltage across this conductor or material, I think, is directly proportional to the current flowing through the material, right? In physics, I think I can't remember GCSE, but in A level, you pretty much need to know this word to word. In this situation, I would use this basic type in the answer mode, just because it gives you a type prompt. So I'm going to show you how that works. Remember, I have to change this to electricity. Remember, this is actually quite important. You don't want to be adding cards to different sections. You can like move a card from one place to another, but it's just a pain. Like, you may as well, when you're adding this to the actual deck, you may as well just like add it to the correct deck instead of just going over after you've made the deck and then moving it. But it can be done, right? But choose this and then I add here. So now if I go back to my main starter pack, main camp of Anki, I can see electricity has one card that we added right now. If I click on it here, study now, it gives you this type prompt where you can like type whatever you want, and it literally matches it like character by character to what you typed. So it literally matches like each individual letter to what you've actually provided the answer to be. So this is very good when you are needing to like memorize definitions, or if you're doing like a language, memorizing words, memorizing phrases where like the order of letters is very important. This can help a lot. Next one is close. Close, I don't really use that much at A level, but I did use it quite a lot at GCSE. Close is basically where you can, now I forget the, okay, yeah. So imagine I'm looking at a sentence, right? Imagine I need to fill in a sentence, a particular like sentence that is given to you. How do I explain this? Imagine I have like a sentence that I want to memorize. The fox jumped over the lazy dog. And I want to hide this word because this is the word that's going to be used in the exam. I would then press this button here, this close button here, and you would see this like weird format thing come here. But basically, I know this isn't electricity, we're going a bit off topic, but if I have a sentence like this and I want to hide a particular word in it, I would use this close mode of card. So I'm going to add it to electricity, even though I know that it's not electricity. I press add. I want to keep editing. I press add, and then I go back. I press electricity. I don't really care about Ohm's law. Oh yeah, by the way, when you do a card, if you find it like the rules I use for these 4 buttons, which I think you should use as well, if you cannot solve the answer to the flashcard at all, you have no clue, like you think for like 2 minutes, 2 minutes, and you literally don't know what to put down, you press again. If you can like sort of remember half of it, or like remember like certain sections of the answer, press hard. I meant to say again when like you couldn't think of it at all, but you press hard when you kind of understand the answer. Good is when you've got like the general gist of what the flashcard's asking, but you don't really like, you can't really express it like you would do in an exam or like to another person. So imagine I was asked about Ohm's law and I said something about voltage or something about current. I didn't really like specify certain like particular phrases that I needed to use for the exam. I would press good, and easy is that you've got it spot on. A lot of people face the problem of like, what if it's like between one of these 2 buttons? What if it's like, I've sort of got the general gist, but also like I feel like I don't really understand? I would always use the lower bound. So like if I can't decide between hard and good, I would always press hard instead of good. It's better to be safe than sorry. So you may as well just like add an extra review or like an extra review in the future, just to be sure that you understand the information. But weird side tangent, but yeah, let's move on. This is close, right? As you can see, you have the sentence here. It's asking you for this like hidden word, and you can just press enter, and it comes along. Close is very easy. This brings me on to the last Anki like card type, which is the best one by far. This one is genuinely really, really good. And it's something called image occlusion enhanced, or image occlusion. Now this will bring me on to the next section of this video, which is add-ons in Anki, and this is like a medium section. So now you're a beginner, now you know like the starter pack of how to do Anki, how to review cards, how to make cards, how to make decks, how to make sub decks. You should be familiar with that. If not, pause the video, go have a play around with that, use that for a bit, and then after that we're going on to like the medium to advanced, not even advanced, like just medium skills when you're using Anki. This brings me on to image occlusion enhanced, which is basically, I click on this button here. When you do the add-on, you click on this button here, and then what I do is I basically go to any image, right? So imagine what can I use? All right, so imagine I'm studying a flashcard and it has something like, all right, anyways, imagine you get like a picture like this, right? So I have a screenshot of you can take a screenshot of anything, but I have a screenshot of a Reddit post where someone's complaining about how like hard A-levels are or whatever. Anyways, I can basically make a box over this like this, and I can just hide certain pieces of information. This is very good for diagrams in physics, chemistry, biology, any of the sciences in my opinion, or like computer science or any visual sort of subject. I find this really, really helpful because when I'm met with like a diagram that I can't just put into words, I use this box feature where it's just going to slap something on the image, and when it's just going to give you something like this, and then when you review the card, you're asked, oh yeah, why are A-levels so hard? And then you have to guess what's behind this card. I can attempt to show you that, but now you get the general gist of like how it works. So I would then go hide all, guess one. One card is added because I've only put one box. If I go back here, as you can see, there's one image still. I don't care about that. Yep, as you can see here, why are A-levels so hard? The red box is the one that you have to guess whatever this answer is. I can't even be asked to read this, right? But yeah, that's how you use close. Now we've gone through all of the different types of cards that you can add to Anki, and now you're a pretty comfortable beginner Anki user. Now we're going on to like the medium sort of Anki skills that you need to use. And most of this is like add-on. So the next section of the video, or like the last part of this video, is purely on add-ons when it comes to Anki. I'm gonna have my like jab of explaining the algorithm, so how the algorithm works. But honestly, if you want to understand like exactly what settings to use for the algorithm, I'm not the person to ask. I just use the default settings when it comes to like the algorithm to do with Anki, and it's just worked wonders for me. I've used it for like 3 years and I've had no problems with it. If you do want to tweak the algorithm, I genuinely think you shouldn't. Yeah, just don't tweak the algorithm. Use the default settings when it comes to Anki. But I think there's like a few tweaks you can do. I'll show you at the end of the video. But I think the rest of this video is just going to be on like the add-ons you can get when it comes to Anki and like the useful ones. Anyways, let's move on to the next section of the video, which is Anki add-ons. So what are Anki add-ons? Anki add-ons are basically this. This is an Anki add-on. As you can see here, it shows you this is an add-on called like a streak or something, where it shows you the amount of days you've been consistent on the app. So whenever you do a flashcard review, it comes up with this green circle. You can change the color, but like you get the gist, right? It comes up with this like colored square, not circle, showing you that you've been consistent on doing a certain flashcard in this particular day. If you want this on your home screen when it comes to Anki, and you just want to like, I don't know, you don't want this to look like dry when it comes to Anki, right? You basically go to tools on the top left corner, you press add-ons here, and here you can see my Anki add-ons. Basically, when you go onto Anki add-ons and you press get add-ons, it shows you browse add-ons. So the ones I have are image occlusion enhanced. This is like the picture one that I showed you, and this is like an imperative, like very important thing that you need to use Anki ASAP. Just go get it. Go to browse get I can't speak today. Browse get add-ons. Click this into the search bar, and then you should just install that there. Another one is review heat map, which is this. If you want this on your home page, you basically go install this, and then there's other like weird ones like basic printing support. I really don't use that. And then this one, which is kind of useless as well. But anyways, you can go to browse add-ons and you can literally just like view. Let me just get that on screen. Yeah, you can view all of the Anki add-ons, or like the additional things you can add to Anki when it comes to improving the aesthetic of the Anki UI, because it is kind of dry, right? So let's see this one. This is a kill streak. This just like gamifies your Anki thing. Anki like reviews. You can see like a version of how it works. This is actually pretty cool too here. You can see this guy's Anki is pretty sick. But yeah, I personally stay away from these ones just because it's just like, you're here to revise, which is kind of hard, and I don't really want to like gamify it as much. There's other useful ones, like I think I saw one, advanced browser. I think I saw one where if you click on the word and you don't know what it is, it tells you the definition of the word. But yeah, you just play around with this section here. These are all for free. All of these are like 100% free. You can just, whatever you like the sound of, or like the general vibe of, you just put this code into your Anki add-on. You basically put this code here, and then it installs it for you. Right? You can like customize your Anki to whatever you want. If you have customized your Anki, send it to me on either my Instagram, shamalam.7, or send it to me on my email. I'm genuinely interested in like what you produce when it comes to Anki, right? So whatever like Anki add-ons you add, just send it to me. I will be like quite interested in what you produce when it comes to Anki. Anyways, that's the medium section done. You should now understand exactly how to review cards, add decks of cards, what else? Add add-ons, add sub-decks, and yeah, you should be set. As long as you have this information on like the basic understanding of how to use Anki, you should be fine and good to go in using these flashcards, and therefore getting good grades when it comes to using flashcards. if you want to know a little bit about how the algorithm works, if I go to preferences and then I go to okay, if you click on a certain deck that you have, you click on this cog sign here, and you click on options here. This is like the general like advanced tweakings that you can do. Personally, I wouldn't recommend doing anything major. The only thing I would really recommend you do is just change this maximum reviews in a day to 999, and then just 99999. So basically what this does is it enables you to add as many cards as you want to a deck, which is normally capped at 20. And then the next one enables you to review as many times as you want, and that one I think is capped at 200. So if you're doing a very coarse, like information heavy task, this will add you, this change will make you like able to add more cards than like 20. But that's basically the only thing I'll change. I wouldn't really fiddle around with these without really knowing them. There are bigger YouTubers that have a lot of understanding in the realm of Anki compared to me. But if you're like a simpleton like me and you don't really care about like the nickifying yourself when it comes to Anki, and you don't really care about flexing your Anki to other people, you just want the good grades, you just want to like revise and get good grades and then go out with your friends, just use this and then you should be fine. Anyways, that's the end of the video. If you have any questions, click on the comment button and like ask me and stuff. Click like, click subscribe. Hopefully you should now know exactly how to use Anki and you will get the good grades. Watch out for part 2 of this two video guide, which will show you exactly how to make the perfect flashcard when it comes to Anki. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.